Good evening. Board members, could we have a motion to move out of executive session, please?
So moved. Second.
All in favor? All right, we're out of executive session. Good evening, everyone, and welcome to our January 24th meeting. Would you please stand with us and join us in the Pledge of Allegiance? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. If you had a chance to take a look at the agenda, are there any alterations to the agenda tonight? Seeing none, may we have a motion to accept tonight's agenda? Thank you. All in favor? An agenda passes. Is there anyone in the audience who wishes to address the board tonight? Seeing none, we'll move on to our student liaisons. And Josh or Lorenzo, Schrader or Thomas first tonight?
I'll go.
Okay.
Good evening, board members. Thank you as always for allowing me the opportunity to share with you all of the events that are happening at Webster Thomas as our second quarter is wrapping up. The 11th of this month was the third annual Titan Day at Willink Middle School for our future ninth graders. A group of Thomas teachers and students had the opportunity to visit Willink for the day and inform the incoming students of the classes that they're going to be offered next year. On the 10th, we held our first Webster Thomas High School AP lecture series and nicknamed it Stahlquist. The lecture was held by Thomas teachers Todd Stahl and Greg Elquist. Well over 100 students, alumni, parents, and community members packed into our cafeteria to hear the first of many lectures from this dynamic duo. The Thomas and Schrader faculties will square off on February 9th at 7 p.m. in the Schrader Gym to raise money for the West Webster Fire Department to support the Kachuvka and Cipriani families. Tickets will be $5, and at halftime, if $5,000 has been raised, our assistant principal, Mrs. Clark, and our librarian, Mrs. Warren, along with Schrader's assistant principal, Mr. McBride, will all shave their heads. So if anyone on the board is looking for a short haircut, we would be happy to accommodate you. This week, winners of the Regional Community Arts Day Reflections competition were announced, and among them are 5 Webster students, including Byrony Rodriguez, Anna Henry, Yaifan Kong, Matthew Godwin, and myself. We will all be advancing to the state-level competition, which takes place in March. Webster's Alpine Ski Team had their 3rd and 4th league races on Thursday, January 10th. In both races, the boys' varsity team placed 2nd and the girls' varsity team placed 7th. 2 weeks ago, the varsity wrestling team competed in the Red Jacket Invitational and placed 2nd overall. Coming in 3rd place was Vinny Aceto, Ricky Crocchetti, Mike Labello Mazzuro, Hayden Maltese, and Chance Nadrich. Coming in 2nd place was Zach Anarello and Aaron Langley, and Max Cole placed 1st. Also, on Wednesday the 16th, the team honored Zach Anarello, Rick Crocchetti, Max Cole, Mike Labello Mazzuro, Devin Sullivan, and Charles Weigel at the last home meet of the season as they're graduating this year. Most of our winter sports are concluding their seasons, while some of our varsity athletes will still continue to practice for postseason competition. As we close out the month of January, students have been retaking Regents exams and studying very hard for their midterms that were mostly this week. I, along with my peers, am very happy to have a long weekend to regroup from our academic rigors. Are there any questions I can answer for the board at this time?
We didn't take an exam. No. Thank you. Josh?
Good evening, board members, and thank you again for having me back to share what's been happening at Schrader for the past couple weeks. Also, on January 11th, the students and faculty of Schrader came here to Spry to celebrate Warrior Day, in which we talked about the course selections that the 8th graders have for the next year as they make the transition from middle school to high school, which can be very frightening for some. This Saturday, you can see many of our juniors and seniors at Thomas to take the first SAT being offered in the new year. We all wish them the best of luck. In addition, this past week, many of our students took midterms and finals in their courses as the second marking period ends for the year. The new one begins on Monday, January 28th, giving all students even more opportunities to succeed in the courses they are taking, as well as experience new things as they begin new electives. Starting February 1st, students can participate in a Crush for a Crush, an annual fundraiser put on by the Student Council where students can purchase a name tag during lunch that will be put on a can of Crush brand soda and be delivered on Valentine's Day to a friend or even a crush. Also, our student council is working on putting together a Mr. Schrader competition, which runs much like a Miss America competition, minus the swimsuit section. All applications are due by February 8th, and the pageant is set for March 8th in the auditorium with members of the community and some of our faculty as judges. The weekend of January 12th, our speech and debate team came in first at the tournament at West Irondequoit High School. And this past Saturday, January 19th, we came in first at Jiva High School, keeping the team undefeated with a record of 8-0. Our musical Footloose is on its way as the cast and crew are working very hard for their opening night, which is just a month away. Just as Lorenzo stated, on February 9th, in the Schrader Gymnasium, you can see the faculty of both Thomas and Schrader participating in a basketball game that benefits the West Webster Fire Department. We wish to see all of you there. Our boys basketball team beat Greece Arcadia 56-30 last night, making their overall season record 12-1, putting them at the number 2 spot for Class AA1. 5 Schrader wrestlers earned all-county honors last weekend at the Monroe County Tournament. Congrats, Rosario, Mike, Sam, Joe, and Anthony. Thank you, and I hope you all stay warm and safe as we head into the bulk of the snow for 2013. Thank you.
Thank you. Yeah, just a question. Basketball game on the 9th, is that beginning at 7?
I believe so.
Okay. Joe, Glenn don't have a side bet going, do you? There's a lot of competition there with the Spry-Willing game, you know. But it'll be a great event. We know it is. It will be. Okay, I don't see Marie here, but I do see Lisa. So let's hear from WTA.
Good evening, board members.
Hello, Lisa.
Tonight, I will not be doing a highlight. Instead, I'm going to do a half-year review of WTA for the 2012-2013 school year. Our accomplishment in October is our new teacher contract passed by a high percentage, and we are happy to say that that has been a very good process for everyone's very pleased. Another successful benefits fair took place in November, and we look forward to continuing to do our benefits fair because it is well received and many of our teachers do enjoy looking forward to it. In December, we provided shirts for the Adam Milan Memorial Game, and we want to continue to do our part to recognize that fundraiser, which raises money for adult leukemia. And currently underway, we're in the final process of the Oak Tree Award, where a selection of a teacher or 2 teachers will be made shortly. The application has been sent out to seek 5 students to receive 5 $1,000 WTA scholarships. So we're waiting eagerly for those applications to come in. And right now, we're still in the process of deeply discussing how WTA will pay it forward in the aftermath of our December 24th tragedy. And we've had a lot of great ideas. So I know that whatever we do will be meaningful. Any questions? Thank you.
Lisa. Thank you. We will now move into our celebration of excellence, and I see we are going to recognize some of our Webster Thomas journalists. And Mary Grace, are you going to introduce them, or is Mrs. Smith going to introduce them? Okay. Oh, yeah. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We got enough. Which ones do you want to give out? You want to give out these or these? Or both? Okay.
Flip the other one down, Lorenzo and Lisa.
1, 2, 3, 4. Yep, 5.
Right now?
No, we'll do it.
So we're very excited to have the staff here from the Thomas Courier. Several of our student journalists have been recognized on a national level, and Mrs. Hevron Smith is the advisor of the Courier, so I'm just going to turn it over to her to introduce the students, and we'll have them share what they were recognized.
Okay, thank you. Let me know if I'm doing anything wrong with the mic here. Am I okay? Okay. Thank you very much, Adele, board members, everyone, for having us in tonight. It's really exciting. It's oftentimes probably feels like a very thankless job. I'm sure for the students, it's hard work to, a lot of your process of writing is alone. And so anyway, thank you very much. I wanted to just start out by saying what is exciting right now is that we've decided to invest a little more in the online site that we have. It's supported by highschooljournalism.org, which is that is supported by the American Society of Newspaper Editors, which is grant funded. So we've invested more time and more resources into our online presence. And let me just have the students tell you a little bit about what they do with that. On my left is Marissa Belanca, who is our co-managing editor. I'll just kind of go down and then you guys can go back sort of one by one. She's our co-managing editor with Devin Flaherty of the paper. Catherine Osadio came to us as a freshman, and we have something exciting to tell you about, something that she did recently. Doug Whalen's been our film critic now for 2 years. And Kira Ashton, she does a lot of different things, but she recently has really shown her strength in the area of political reporting. And Ryan Williams comes in, and he is a very talented young illustrator, so we really depend on him to illustrate many of the stories for which we really don't have any photographs, or for which we would be cited for copyright infringement if we use photos. So we really do rely very heavily on Ryan. It's like, Ryan, we need a sketch for this. We'd get in trouble if we just pulled something down online, so we need you. So we're really glad to have him. But let's do you want to maybe start with Marissa and just go down the line here? Okay.
Hi, I'm Marissa Belanca. I'm the co-managing editor of the Webster Thomas Courier. I started last year. I was a junior, and I was just a staff writer. I came out with a few good stories. I took the journalism class, so it really strengthened my writing. I learned a lot of leadership skills going into college. It's going to be really nice having these skills, writing skills as well. I recently wrote a story about the tragedy on Christmas Eve to honor Tomasz Kachówka and Lieutenant Ciparini. It was really, really touching day to write that article because I had to do a lot of research. It was really touching, and I've gotten a lot of good comments from people about my article and how they think that it honored them really well. I wrote about the things that Webster did to give back, including the organization's fundraising money with the Fireman's Boot, as we've seen in our school, for instance. And I think that it was a really good way, and it really opened my eyes to a lot of different things.
I'm Catherine Osadio. I'm the copy editor for the paper, which basically just means I do a little bit of everything. In mid-December, I interviewed Glee star Chris Colfer in a live video chat interview. He had a film coming out called Struck by Lightning that he both wrote and starred in. I was one of only 8 student journalists across the country to participate in the interview, so that was definitely an honor. I believe it was something that the website that we publish on had advertised that we happened to put our name in for. Each of us got to ask him 2 questions face-to-face, and then we were all able to use each other's material to compile our interviews, which you can actually see mine on the screen. I think it was a really good experience for me because as a freshman, I really didn't have much experience doing interviews before, and doing a celebrity interview definitely raises your confidence in that field. In addition to interviewing him, we each got a code to preview the movie ahead of time to better prepare ourselves for the interview and to also review the film later. Also, as someone considering a career in journalism, I feel like my experiences working on the paper and getting amazing opportunities like this and gradually improving my writing skills have really set me up for a journalism career in the future well.
Hi, my name's Doug Whalen. I'm a sophomore and I'm the entertainment editor for the Thomas Courier. My real passion, though, is writing about films. I like to do both classic movies and contemporary movies for a few reasons. First of all, it gives me an outlet for writing about what I really enjoy. And also, hopefully, it can bring some lesser-known movies to kids who otherwise might not see them. I recently wrote an article about Ingmar Bergman, the Swedish filmmaker from the 50s and 60s. And I feel like the themes that you find in his films are really timeless, so I wanted to hope that I could bring that to a wider audience. Also, the other thing that's great about writing for the newspaper is that it really lets you improve your writing skills, which can really be helpful for like writing college essays, which isn't too far down the road.
Hi, I'm Kira Ashton, and as Ms. Heffernan-Smith said, I kind of write political articles for the newspaper. I've always been a very outspoken and politically opinionated individual, and the school newspaper has really given me a constructive outlet for that opinions. And I hope to, I guess, better educate my peers on current events and politics, because a lot of students think it doesn't matter to them and don't care, but it does. And so I really think that writing for the newspaper has helped me improve my writing skills, and it's been a great experience. So.
Hi, my name is Ryan Williams, and I'm the illustrator for the Thomas Courier. Drawing is something that I really love to do, and it's been a great experience drawing.
So it's not hard to imagine that I feel like the luckiest person on earth right now. It's a wonderful, wonderful staff. We have a real good time on Tuesdays. We don't always get the work done on Tuesdays, so we sometimes come in on Saturdays to do special sections. We are actually in the process of we haven't abandoned print, but you know, when you put all of your energy into the website, you tend to not print as much. Last year we put more energy into print and we sort of abandoned the website. So you're always trying to find that balance between the two. We are in the process of putting together a print tribute issue on the tragedy, and then right after that we're looking at doing another print issue that is, to some extent, we'll put the best of what we've put online, but we also have a couple of exclusively print articles that we're working on. So that's sort of where we're at. Okay.
Thank you very much for coming in tonight. And do you have any questions or comments? Very inspiring.
Okay.
Great job, guys.
Okay.
Don't think we don't read your articles. We do. In fact, last year's senior project caught our attention.
Uh-huh.
The article on that.
The person who wrote that is at Ithaca College, and she's majoring in journalism and doing just great. That was Emma Rizzo. So,
Is the movie worth seeing?
Yeah, I really enjoyed it. It was a good movie.
Okay.
okay.
Your recommendation. Thank you very much. But before you leave, we have a few gifts for you. One of them is going to be a pin that says "Make It Happen for Students," and we have our Webster Proud bumper sticker. Thank you. There you go. Thank you for all your work. Thank you.
Thanks. Thanks.
So congratulations, students, on the success of the paper, and thank you, Mrs. Smith, for all your hard efforts, and we thank you for coming out on this cold night and sharing your talent with us.
Thank you so much for having us. I really appreciate it.
Thank you, students. There must be a reason why many of our administrators have on this special shirt. I wonder what it could be. Finally, it's on a shirt. For our audience that does not know what's going on, we have a retirement celebration right now.
And that retirement celebration is for Linda Sykett, who's sitting right here in the sweatshirt. And I have the T-shirt, and you'll see it out in the audience. And I don't know if we could have, like, people stand up and turn around and zero in on the back of the shirt. It's Webster Schools Proud, but on the back of the shirt is a balanced literacy framework. And Linda has worked so hard on balanced literacy, and she was always remarking, it should be on a shirt, it should be on a shirt. So to honor her retirement, we had these shirts made up, and it's kind of fun. So we're all very literary tonight. It's a whole English theme going on. It's very nice. So I'm going to say a few words, then I will give Linda a chance to say a few words. We're here tonight to celebrate the educational career and contributions of Linda Sykett. Linda serves as our Assistant Superintendent for Elementary Instruction and has spent the last 6 years with us in Webster. She came to us with over 20 years of experience as an elementary classroom teacher in several grade levels. She had 6 years of experience additionally as a special education teacher. She served as principal of the School of the Holy Childhood in Rochester, as well as the Alice B. Hyde Elementary School in Dansville. And in her career, Linda has always been about creating opportunities for all children to succeed. She's held the norm of collaboration for herself as a teacher in the classroom and as a co-leader of teachers and principals. Educational authors Jensen Wifford have said, leadership is not about pretending to have all the answers, but instead is having the courage to search with others to discover solutions. Now, I don't know if you remember this, Linda, but she used that quote to communicate her leadership style back in 2007 when she applied for the assistant superintendent's position. And she wrote in her application that it is my intention to model this belief through my actions and interactions. And in the 6 years that Linda has served Webster Schools, she has walked the talk and demonstrated the courage to search for answers and to discover strategies for quality elementary instruction with the 7 principles of the Elementary Cabinet. Her leadership and expertise in all things elementary have guided conversations and collaboration towards research-based best practice. She has modeled for us what continuous learning looks like professionally, and she's been a learning fellow with the National Center for Excellence in Teaching and Learning since 2004. So that means that each year Linda has studied best practice in the field and taken dedicated time for professional reflection. And just today, we both participated in a professional development with the Center for Learning Excellence on the principal evaluation process. And it was a very reflective and highly professional day, and Linda has modeled that kind of professionalism for everyone in the district. Linda's guidance and insight and professional knowledge have been an invaluable asset to Webster Schools. Her understanding of staff development, curriculum and instruction, and program evaluation were instrumental to the successful work of creating a common literacy vision for our 7 elementary schools, which kind of you see on the back of our shirts. The work extended to collaboration and a common focus for both elementary literacy and math. Through Linda's leadership and vision, Webster accessed pre-kindergarten dollars from the state, and then we partnered with community providers and opened up quality pre-K opportunities for Webster's youngest learner. This past year, Linda led the study of full-day kindergarten and is now going to lead the implementation team for this wonderful program. So this amazing work for our youngest learners in early education is truly a legacy that Linda will leave to the Webster District that will impact us for years and years to come. Colleagues that work closely with Linda share that Linda sees her success through the achievement of others. She's the type of individual who constantly searches for answers to meet present and future needs of students while encouraging educators to reflect on their own practice. So I have to say the Webster administrative team is stronger and smarter for having experienced the benefit of Linda's leadership this past 6 years, and we celebrate with her in this completion of this phase of her career. And Linda, we have a gift for you. I know this has been the week for that, but I do want you to open this on camera, and it has an inscription for you.
Thank you, Adele.
Of course, it's from Kettleburgers.
And I can read it without my glasses.
Can you see it?
For lighting a path to quality elementary instruction, Webster Schools Proud, 2013. It's beautiful.
It's a candle.
Beautiful.
Would you like to say something?
I would like to say something. I want to say something at the same time. I feel a little speechless and overwhelmed. The 6 years has gone so fast. In some ways, it feels like last week that I was sitting here being invited to join the Webster community by all of you. And in other ways, it seems like a long time ago. And as I was reflecting on that, the reason it does seem like a long time ago is because I felt quickly part of the community and part of the team, and that has made all the difference. This afternoon, after the workshop that Adele and I attended, I had an opportunity to work one last time with our elementary core lead teachers and our building principals and assistant principals around establishing a vision for our full-day kindergarten program. And that was about 50 or so people in multiple grade levels that really dug in, thought deeply and carefully, and engaged wholeheartedly in a brainstorming activity. It makes me so excited to think about the future. And I realize that some of the things that Adele said, I will say are true, that being here for 6 years has given me an opportunity to grow and learn every single day. And as I told the team last night, none of the work that Adele described was done in isolation and could not have happened, would absolutely not be possible if we had not lived our core beliefs, all about collaboration and interdependence. And I am grateful that I'm ending this part of my career with this district, because there is no other district that does it as well as Webster does. And I am thanking you, the board, for helping support us to live those beliefs and make them be alive and real. So thank you so much for the opportunity that you've given me. I couldn't ask for a better boss sitting next to me. We don't always agree, and that's a wonderful thing, that we can express differences and move forward with a solution that's the best possible solution. But she's always supported me. She's never told me to stop dreaming, and that's a good thing. It's been a good thing for me. She's picked me up when I've fallen down, and she's been a cheerleader, a confidant, and a friend, and I can't think of any other superintendent that I have ever known that I would rather work for at this level. So I think that there are many, many things that we all can be truly grateful for, and tonight I'm celebrating the fact that I've been able to share parts of your lives for this little while. So thank you to everybody. Thank you to the audience as well. Thank you.
Don't go, Linda. See if the board has any comments for you.
We've been able to accomplish so much at your direction, and your contribution to this team and this district really are invaluable. Adele has said it so eloquently. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Janine. I appreciate those kind words.
I just want to say that I have always admired your dedication and your passion. You do everything with such conviction that it's good for students. And I've learned a great deal along the way. I just want to thank you for your contributions and who you are. I've enjoyed it immensely, and you will be missed.
Thank you, Laura, and I've especially enjoyed your sense of humor.
Not everyone does.
Just thank you very much for your years of service, Linda. It's been really a pleasure to work with you and to get to know you.
And you too.
And I'll echo the board's comments, and best of luck, whatever your future endeavors may be.
Thank you. I'll be traveling down that yellow brick road. We'll see what...
You know, just for the, since you're elementary-ish, how about we give you one of these pins for Make It Happen for Students?
I would love that.
And thanks to all the administrative colleagues who came to honor Linda tonight. Appreciate your attendance.
Well, you already told me about the amount of time to be able to engage in the luxury of reading. So I'm looking forward to that.
Balanced reading approach
There you
between
go.
fiction and nonfiction.
There you go. Thank you.
Thank you. We'll move into our instructional reports, and we have an ELA presentation. So we'll ask Mary Grace up again and the ELA lead team.
Do we have name tags? Are you looking for your name tags? No? Okay. You can just put them down.
Probably better if we're anonymous anyway.
You can introduce yourselves. Yeah.
So we are, as a department and as a team, excited to be here tonight to share some of the great work that we're doing in English language arts. And I'm very grateful that some of my awesome colleagues are here to share the things that they are doing in the classroom. So we have Adrian Galino, who is at Spry, Joanne Ham from Schrader, Todd Putnam from Willing, and Jody Dovalak from Thomas. So the professional efforts of the English Language Arts Department have focused on the implementation of the Common Core and the move to help all students be college and career ready. This work also supports board goal number 1 of helping all students achieve their maximum potential. The major lifts in instruction call for challenging students to higher levels of cognitive engagement, utilizing text as the basis of this cognitive engagement, and promoting academic independence and engaging in rigorous material independently. We are very fortunate here in Webster to have the tremendous asset of the PLC structure, which has allowed this work to move forward and really thrive.
Big picture, the nice thing about the PLC is that we've been able to come to a common understanding over the past couple of years of exactly what the Common Core standards are, and I think we do have a pretty thorough understanding at this point. On a practical day-to-day level, meeting in PLCs allows us to create assessments and activities in common that are aligned with the Common Core. Most recently, we put together a relatively large common formative assessment that we used with all 7th graders. We used Common Core exemplar passages and the questions that came with them. And now what we're doing in the PLC meetings, of course, is analyzing that data and deciding what kinds of activities and strategies we want to take from there. It's really the same work we've been doing with the PLC. I would say the only difference is that now we've got the Common Core as sort of a magnetic north that we can follow and stay on track with.
And so in trying to achieve the goals of those very high level and challenging expectations of the Common Core, we've looked within to identify the instructional strategies that we have been utilizing that are highly engaging and call for students to interact at that level. And we have found them, and through the efforts of the PLC, we're broadcasting those out into every classroom so that all ELA students are engaging at that level. So what we have for you today are some concrete examples of those efforts.
Education, is this on? Education is always reforming itself. As products of the 50s, my classmates and I were presented with Sputnik. And when I started teaching 6th grade in the early 60s, it was the new math. I was in California when the 70s ushered in accountability. And the 80s gave us multicultural education and alternative schools. 2000 brought us PLCs, and I skipped over 90s, and I'll go back to that. The standards-based instruction was the hallmark of the 90s. And in 2011, 2012, when Maryland had the highest AP scores in the nation and their public schools ranked first for the 4th straight time, the race to the top was on. What will the watchword of this decade be? My guess is rigor. Rigor for success in school and in the workplace. I want rigor for my students, basically because I really believe it will enrich their lives on all fronts. Now, the Common Core promotes complexity as the standard for rigor, and to an extent, that's true. But I think there's another dimension to complexity that we need to focus on more. It seems to me that rigor provided solely by the teacher promotes dependency. Rigor without independence is not real rigor. And that's why I think that by 2020, there will be a call for far more independent learning. It was the combination of both goals, rigor and independence, that drew me to the Harkness system of learning developed by Phillips Exeter Academy in New Hampshire in the 1930s. You know that famous prep school where tuition is $48,000 a year? Well, at that academy, every classroom has a handmade wood oval table built right in the room that seats 12 to 14. Students come to class with real questions, thoughtful challenges, research, and commentary based on a close reading of the text to present an exchange of ideas. They initiate and control discussion. One person keeps a tally of contributions which become part of the grade. In my classroom, we have 3 Harkness tables to accommodate our larger numbers in AP Lit and 11R regions. I float among them, listening in and occasionally posing a question or offering a perspective for their consideration. Dr. Tyler Tingley, the headmaster at Phillips Exeter, maintains that it is the teacher's job to demonstrate how to learn and not simply what to learn. So far, the student response is pretty enthusiastic. I'm going to quote one of my students who said, when I said, "Are you really like this, or is it just because it's something new? Or is this really helpful?" Okay, I need the truth, be honest. He said, "I like it because we get to talk more often, we really talk." And I like it for the same reason. And I also like it because it's genuine discussion instead of a recitation or a performance for the teacher. You are all welcome to visit. Just let me know if you're interested, and I'll get back to you with a schedule of our discussion dates, because other times we'll be doing different activities. And I do have a handout here tonight that I think is pretty interesting, and it's a commentary from Dr. Tingley, the headmaster, explaining more about the Harkness table method and their way of doing things. And I'll just leave this here in case you're interested. Thank you very much.
At the 9th grade level, we think of it as a foundation, so that we are preparing the kids right from the beginning of high school for college and career, but also preparing them for the higher level thinking that they're going to need in 10th, 11th, 12th grade when they enter a class like Joanne's and are faced with the Harkness table. So we're working with the Common Core and the higher level different strategies so that they're able to do that when they get there. In 9th grade this year, for the first time, we're working with a new book. It's called They Say, I Say. It's by Gerald Graff, Kathy Birkenstein, and Russell Durst. It's a book that is used for college freshmen in places like Harvard. Jan Lutterbein brought it to my attention last year, and we took a look at it and decided that it was something that we could try with our 9th graders. The idea behind the book is that for any type of learning, whether it's research that you need to then use in class or write with, a student needs to look out into the world and figure out what the conversation is. What do they say in the world? And then they need to be able to take that information, synthesize it to what do I say, so that I can have those higher level conversations in class and in writing. The book uses templates that gives students transitions and words so that they can really work that into their thinking and be able to work at a higher level. For example, in my class, we're using a template where they start by saying, "Some believe that blank, while others contend that blank, but I maintain," and then they can put in their higher level thinking there. And just that use of transition allows them to be able to enter that world of the conversation that they need for something like Harkness Table. We started using it in 9 Enriched, and I have the book that I use with them there. And now we're starting to, through our PLCs, incorporate that into our 9 Regents classes also, so that it's a way to scaffold. We use text-based questions from nonfiction and scaffold it so that the students can understand and work up to that higher level and then use the templates to show their understanding. And really that's what we're working with 9th grade right now.
At the middle school level, we're practicing for high school, so it's kind of the foundation for high school. And I'm proud to say at Spry, we actually engage the students in some of these behaviors that they'll continue in high school through Socratic seminars where students develop their own questions. They have to refer to the text, strive for clarity, and most importantly, manage their impulsivity. Also, we've stolen a couple of the they say, I say templates that we thought were totally appropriate for 6th grade or 7th grade, such as introducing a quote, explaining a quote, just very basic, but we thought if the kids saw them a little earlier, it might be easier when they got into 9th grade and they could be more sophisticated. This past year, the example you see on the slide, it's a little hard to see, but we read a drama version of the classic Christmas Carol, and in the past, students might have described Scrooge's character by saying he was mean and greedy and hated Christmas, and that may have been sufficient. But at this point, we're really driving students back to the text. I do want to say that technology has been very useful, and I'm grateful for the support that we have in this district. The use of a document camera, for example, allows a student to put their finger on the point in the text and share that passage with the rest of the class. I also can immediately share a great example of student writing with the entire group. So this example shows the student first was scaffolded through the exercise of selecting good evidence, because students don't always even know what good text evidence is, and then we engage the student in weaving that into their writing. So this student, for example, showed when Scrooge was invited to his nephews for Christmas, his response was, "I'd rather see myself dead than see myself with your family." And they can really talk more about the depth of his character through the use of the text. We also are trying to balance rigor with engagement, which is always a challenge. And so this year we are fortunate to take all 7th graders to the Jiva production of A Christmas Carol, and students could engage in higher level comparisons between the performance and the script they read in class to create further connections. We are trying to create that foundation of higher level thinkers so that they'll be ready for those college and career challenges.
I spoke earlier about our PLC team, but as you know, in middle school we also have the luxury of an interdisciplinary team that we're a part of, which gives us other opportunities. And I'd just like to share a quick activity that we developed between ELA and social studies. Our social studies teacher said, we've got an activity where we have primary source quotes, and we'd like kids to be able to identify whether the speaker was a loyalist, a patriot, or a member of parliament in the 1770s. And they said, how can we present this in a way that's also using the ELA skills that you guys are teaching? So we sat down, and the first thing we noticed was that these quotes were in 1770s English, and very high-level educated 1770s English. And so the first thing we had to do was have the kids do a close read of these quotes, because even though they're 3 or 4 sentences long, I had to read them 2 or 3 times and say, oh, okay. And they say he, they're talking about Great Britain, okay. So we had kids work in pairs, annotate these quotes, and then have quick class discussions about literally what does this quote say. Now the next step is to use their social studies content knowledge to identify, is this a quote from a loyalist, etc. And then to show the proof for that, we talked about using what we call a short constructed response. And this is essentially a short paragraph that requires an answer to the question and then 2 text details taken again directly from the text. This is the kind of question they're going to see on this year's state test, so it's a big help to us as far as the ELA goes. And this is the result up there, as you can see, where they said speaker A is a loyalist because in the text it says this, and a loyalist would agree with X, Y, and Z. So they're using, again, their social studies content knowledge, but they're expressing it through the skills they're learning through ELA and LAC with their reading and writing. This was an activity that was successful enough that Brian Powers, the lead teacher for social studies, today sent it out to the entire staff via email, just as an example of how any content area can employ the ELA skills and the Common Core standards to both teach their content and to make the kids better readers and writers.
So as you can see from these examples, we really have started not only examining and analyzing the Common Core, but implementing instruction that will help students meet the expectations of the Common Core. And as we do that and we move into assessments that are assessing students' skill in the Common Core, those are more rigorous as well. They have things like higher level cognitively challenging questions, more difficult options for multiple choice, for example. There's not two easy ones that you can just cross out because you know they're wrong. And writing using text evidence. And as we've implemented and used those Common Core aligned assessments, we have seen some drop in student scores. And so again, we go back to the PLC cycle. How do we address that? We look at where we do item analysis, look at where students are struggling, look at our best instructional strategies, bring those into the classroom, and reflect on them. We also have implemented some supportive reading programs this year for the first time at the middle level. Our Read 180 and System 44 programs are meant to help students improve their reading skills. And after our first benchmark assessment, which we just gave, we have seen an average of 90-point growth on the Scholastic Reading Index for the 125 students that are participating at SPRI. We didn't yet have the Webster WillLink results, but they're very promising, and hopefully things like this will help students be more successful in achieving those higher expectations of the Common Core.
And then at the high school level, we're promoting the college and career readiness score of 75 or above on the 11th grade ELA. And we're starting to do that right now. We offered a retake on the ELA to all students who got 75 or below for January. And about 1/3 of our students who got 75 or below just retook the exam yesterday, and we will be scoring it tomorrow.
So we're hoping they were able to improve, and we did offer tutoring to help them reach that college and career goal.
In an effort to encourage students to try at AP level and raise the bar for themselves, I went about a week and a half ago to 11 different junior classes, 8 of which were Regents classes. And a lot of the Regents kids don't think they can do it. You know, they just don't have the confidence. And after I was through in one of the classes, I was walking down the hall back to my classroom, and maybe the tallest boy I have ever seen, so I couldn't miss him, who had a smile almost as wide as he was tall, was walking down the hall, grinning at me. And I remembered him, of course, because of his height, from one of the classes, and he walked up to me and he said, "I think I'm going to take AP Lit next year." And I shook his hand and I said, "What's your name?" And he told me. And I said, "Well, I think that's wonderful. You're challenging yourself. You know, that's a great opportunity for you. And I'm really looking forward to working with you next year." And you know, he went his way, I went my way. But my heart was so warmed by it because he has the chance to become all he's capable of being and not just partly what he's capable of being. And that's what's so exciting.
And I think that's the thread that runs through everything that you've heard tonight. We're striving to help students meet those Common Core expectations. And when it comes right down to it, we really are committed to producing students who can read, but also who love to read, and who want to read, and who are people that read. Because we know that through reading, all the world's possibilities are open to them. And so we are dedicated to all Webster students being in that place. So that's our presentation.
Yeah, to be or not to be.
Pretty good ending there.
It's a little ELA humor. I'm glad somebody got it.
Questions from the board? Janine? Laura?
Just so excited to be a student these days. Yeah. I envy you. I really do. Thank you for your presentation.
Can we come to your class?
You have an invitation.
Yes, we do. Actually, we do. We want to come every day.
I have to say, I sat through an 80-minute block of Mrs. Ham's class.
sorry?
Back in the day, I sat through an 80-minute block of Mrs. Ham's class, and it's very, I would encourage anyone to do it. You learn.
Well, I have a few, and they just popped up. The board is struggling, maybe that's the wrong word, debating what it means to be college and career ready for Webster students. And you had a slide that said a summative assessment of 75 on the Regents 11. But I also heard Joanne really use the word rigor. And so I'm wondering, is 75 rigor? And then secondly, what really in your mind would be a definition for college and career ready for Webster students?
Maybe they could get back to us on that one.
Oh, Joanne has a
Oh,
comment
you're-
on everything.
were you addressing that
Well,
to me?
I think you would probably give me a comment on that.
So, one more time, the question is, what is 75 rigor?
Yes.
For some students, yes. For a number of them, no. Not everyone comes to the table with the same deck of cards, we know that, but they have a right to play, whatever their cards are. And I want to keep going with this metaphor, I'm going to get tugged, you know what I mean? I'm going to trip over it in a second. But I'm talking about the idea that all the different experiences everyone has helps to shape who they are in the classroom. And some of the kids will consider very rigorous to get to a 75. And for some of my students who have different language difficulties and so on, I think that's true. I do think for the students who are more comfortable with learning and don't struggle as mightily, that 75 is too low a bar. That's my quick answer.
It's 80 in math.
Yes, I know, and I wondered about that. Maybe it's because they don't have to write a lot of math essays. I don't know.
I don't know. All right, thank you.
It's a thoughtful question, though, and I think that, you know, as we move forward, what we're really trying to do is provide opportunities for all students to meet high levels of achievement. And so that might vary what is considered to be a high level of achievement, but we want to provide the opportunity for all students to meet their maximum achievement. So it is difficult to define at times.
Nothing, Todd? Okay, thank you. Nice report. This does take action, so can we have a motion to accept the report?
Second.
Thank you. All in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries. Thank you very much, people.
Thank you, team. Good report.
Thank you.
And I'm glad that you did not get up, Mary Grace, because I believe you are giving us the written report on, or a quick summary on the library.
I feel like I've been sitting here all night. So the librarians have been very busy in doing what they do best, and Marie Ferner is here with me. She's just going to sit up here with me. She is one of my lead librarians. She's at State Road. They have been very busy in what they see as their calling, which is supporting the academic program at Webster Central Schools. They are an absolutely phenomenal resource on so many levels, and as we move to the Common Core, they have really put into place some initiatives to help support our teachers and our students in that movement. For example, they've really stocked their shelves with high-interest nonfiction text and produced great displays to try to engage students in the reading of those texts. The elementary librarians have done an analysis of the writing workshop that we currently use so that they can provide mentor texts for teachers to illustrate certain types of writing to students so they have excellent models to draw from. So they've done a lot of work in their role as supporters of our academic program. You all have the report?
We have the report.
Mhm.
It's right here. It's,
Oh, yeah.
you got that.
And I was just
Oh, yeah,
over at
that's
Willing
the-
today. They were having their Newberry celebration, and I hear
Yes.
Mr. Suffoletto was there. I just missed him. But again, just a great opportunity to expose students to books and literature and encourage the love and passion for reading.
And on Monday, we find out what really won.
Yeah, the kids picked Wonder. I was really wanted Ivan. But
Oh, those are both my favorites. Yeah.
I liked Ivan, too.
At the elementary school, we vote on the Caldecott one, so the illustration. So
Mhm.
we're anxiously awaiting to see if our favorites win.
I have a question. As you stock your libraries with nonfiction, do you see students, do you see a change in what students select because there is availability, or is it still a stretch for them?
The students have always enjoyed the nonfiction. I notice that they take the ones that have photographs in them. There are times when a kid will take a book that I know he's not capable of reading, but he can read the pictures and learn from the pictures. And so that's why when we select books that are nonfiction, we try really hard to select ones that have photographs for them that they can use to learn from just the photographs. I mean, we'll have kindergartners that'll take out a book because they're interested in a topic and they want it. And so they can't read it. Someone might read it to them, but they're able to learn from reading the pictures. So we try really hard to make books, our selection of books, be available for them that will help.
And I do know at the middle and high level, they have seen greater circulations of those
Mhm.
types of books, of nonfiction. And the newer nonfiction books are very engaging as well.
Yes. Yes.
Thank you.
seeing no other questions, this does also require action, so we'll look for a motion to accept.
So moved.
Second?
All in favor? Motion carries. Thank you, library report.
Thank you.
Okay. Mr. McCarthy,
Yeah. Waiting in the wings.
the AP government proposal.
Yes.
It's a trick one here. So I am cold, yes. I'm used to wearing a jacket and tie, and I had to talk to Ms. Bovar to ensure that I could wear a T-shirt up here. So I apologize. Normally I would be in a suit. But so our proposal, when we think about the social studies department, you think about the study of the past. And really, when we think about what our group has, is really a forward-looking group of teachers. And over the last number of years, we've really looked at what could the senior year look like for our students. And in the 2011 school year, we added a course, Citizens in Action, to replace previously the Participation in Government course. And that has received great success. It's an action-related, advocacy-based course. And we also looked at, is there a way to engage our kids in more deeper learning around advanced placement? We currently have 15% of our seniors in advanced placement courses as a senior. And we believe that there's an opportunity to engage kids, both if they're action-oriented in a Citizens in Action, if they're interested in law, we have Law and Justice, but government. And we saw one of our students earlier speaking about her interest, and I believe we have a lot of students who are interested in the structures of our government. And so this offers another pathway. Certainly it connects deeply with our board goal of expanding advanced placement options, and the challenge that we'll have in the delicate balance is to not take away from our other senior offering, which is economics. I know the economics teachers have really looked at AP economics. How can they connect with the business department? One of the things that I know, one of the teachers went to the accounting classes and said, if you're going to be a business major, you should be in AP economics. And that just makes sense, and connecting this coursework to college and career aspirations. And so we see that there is an opportunity for for AP Government. For students who are interested in government or some sort of service, that this could be a pathway for them. And certainly from a staffing perspective, it would fit within our current staffing. We would be shifting sections of the other required social studies courses. And so that was the basis of our offering or of our proposal. And we're hopeful that the board would be interested in entertaining that. And what we say is it's a one-year pilot, and we really want to look at this because we would be offering it both to have the AP requirement for government and then the economics woven in. And we want to see if this is a model that will work for us and have our students be interested in participating in. And at that, I'll open up for questions.
Yes.
Full year?
Full year, yes.
So complementing the AP Economics course, or?
It would be a separate, so AP,
Right.
AP Econ is currently micro and macro with the government government required woven in. This would be a separate full-year course that would have AP Government focus with the economics woven in.
Thank you.
Yeah. All right.
Follow-up question to Janine's. Could you take this new course and also take the AP Economics exam?
I think for the first year for the pilot, we want to identify students who currently aren't in AP Econ. So students have already made their selections. I think down the road that might be a possibility. Certainly we want to be cognizant of staffing. And that might make an impact on staffing. So we want to keep it within our current staffing, taking kids who might be in a non-AP course offering.
So let's take an AP track. You do 10th grade would be global or world, then US, and then if you were in the AP, you'd probably have the choice of taking either European or this new AP or psychology, and I forgot the other AP we offer in, there's another one in 10th.
Econ, psych, and then would be government and Euro, and actually for the actual graduation requirement, it would be either econ or government, economics or government. Your AP Euro and AP Psych do not fulfill the graduation requirements. So those would be additional courses that kids could offer. And just, I think we want to emphasize too is if you're in U.S. history regents, we would strongly encourage you to provide that pathway too. So any pathways on, certainly we would want to encourage that for our kids.
Okay, makes sense.
Any questions?
Okay, this also requires action, so may we have a motion, please?
So moved. Second.
Thank you. All in favor? Motion carries. Thank you, Terry.
Thank you very much.
We now move into our superintendent's report.
Thank you. So just reminding everyone to put on your calendar February 9th, as the student liaisons did a nice job explaining. It is a faculty basketball game between Schrader and Thomas faculty to benefit the West Webster families that were affected recently.
Is this where you attend with a whistle?
No, that's usually the Spry Willink I ref. I've not been asked to ref this one, but I would if they asked me to.
They could, you know, looking at Joe there.
Yeah. I have been known to run up and down the court with a ref shirt on and blow the whistle occasionally. That's about the extent of my reffing experience. But so as our students plan to give back to the fire department, the West Webster and its auxiliary are reaching out to the Webster schools, to all 7 elementary schools, in fact. The West Webster Fire Department and its auxiliary have purchased boxes of tissues, hand sanitizer, and Lysol, and they donated them this week to help prevent the spread of the flu. So we do want to go on record thanking them for their kindness and for their support of good health for our staff and students. And in other news, the Webster Aquatic Center received the Best Facility of the Year award from the Monroe County Sports Commission for 2012. So each year, the Monroe County Sports recognizes key contributors who make outstanding sporting events possible in our community. These are people who work tirelessly, often behind the scenes, to host world-class events that bring thousands of visitors into Rochester. Their efforts have helped to put Monroe County on the map as an ideal sporting destination, ensuring future growth of national championships, invitational, state championships, and top-notch events in the greater Rochester community. So co-directors Mary Ann Pierce and Sue Hemingway run the Webster Aquatic Center, and throughout the years, the center has formed a positive working relationship with organizations throughout the state, and they have brought brought such competitions to the community. We've hosted the Niagara Swim Championships, which brought over 600 swimmers to the area, the Eastern Zone Short Course Championships, which featured nearly 750 swimmers and filled more than 1,500 total hotel beds in the area. And both of these events will return to the center in 2013. This year, the Aquatic Center will also host the Fast Swimming Winter Festival with about 600 swimmers and athletes, and the New York State Boys Swimming and Diving Championships, a first for Monroe County. And we know that each time our center hosts this type of event, the visitors that come to our community benefit us all. They benefit the hotels, they benefit the restaurants. There's research to show as visitors come economically how much your community benefits. So it's not just the Webster community that's benefiting from this, because with the size of these events, hotels in other communities are being booked. And it's just a wonderful event. So we just wanted to take a few minutes tonight and highlight that, to congratulate Sue and Marianne for their hard work to build the competitiveness to compete for these events and to win them, and for everyone involved with the Aquatic Center and the program over the years. So that is our highlight for tonight, and that ends my report.
Thank you, Adele. We have 5 first readings of policy revisions. So, Carmen, you want to do them all together, or do you want to do them one at a time?
Okay, policy 2010, public access to district information. We added, well, you can see the changes in yellow. Instead of recording tapes, because we don't really have recording tapes anymore, we have recordings. And we also talked about making sure that the payment is for staff time and for duplication. For policy 2060, we took the language highlighted in yellow, and actually it's now parallel and consistent with language from other policies that you'll see throughout the manual. Policy 2070, we removed a footnote. Policy 4020, for accepting gifts. So all gifts should be brought to the board by the school principal for donations of $5,000
or more.
Or more. And we increased that from $1,000 to $5,000. So any gifts which exceed a value of $5,000 have to be approved by the board. Yeah, so did I at the very beginning. So principals have the ability to authorize anything below 5,000.
I know,
And 4070, I think this is our last one tonight. 4070, what this was about was just highlighting what we mean by officer or employee of the district. And again, this is language that is parallel with a previous policy, and I don't remember that policy number. But, okay, questions at all on this first read? Seeing that the policy committee is here.
Then may we entertain a motion to accept first reading of the 5 policies stated?
Second.
Thank you. All in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries. Thank you, Carmen. We move on to our revenue and expense reports. Jim?
Tonight you have in front of you the 6-month report for both budget and revenue through June 31st. On the budget side, we've spent just over 42% of our budget, or about $62 million. One of the things you will note here is, if you were to look at it, there was a large negative in one of the salary codes, and that's due to one of our federal grants that hasn't been approved yet, and that's the IDEA 611 grant, our largest grant, and once that's approved, then the salaries can be moved over to that, and that will clear that account. On the revenue side, I think you have the revenues, estimated revenues through December 31st. Just highlight a couple. In March, when we do bring this report again, we'll be estimating not only what our collections are to date, but what we believe we'll be collecting through June, so you'll have a better estimate of revenues. I believe at that time you'll see that we'll have excess revenues, which means we've collected more than what we have budgeted. A couple of highlights I'll just tell you now. The sales tax, our first quarter sales tax came in a little bit higher than we would have expected, and we know that sales tax conversations around the holiday seasons were up from where they were, so I expect that we'll have a final number that exceeds the estimated budget number that we projected. On the state aid side, again, there we have an excess currently of about $350,000. I think that'll grow slightly as our excess cost aid gets worked out. I'll just footnote that you'll see under state aid other the $250,000, and that was the one-time grant money that we received from Senator Nozzolio at the start of the year. Rental of property will, as rental properties come in, and a lot of that has to do with some of the rents and programs that happen at our buildings. We will meet our budget in that area. The in lieu of tax line, again, that was for a property that was added to the in lieu of tax after the budget was set, and we're just about $285,000 in excess revenues there. Our miscellaneous revenues will, as they come in for property rentals and programs we run, will probably even out by year end. So I expect that the year end number to be in excess of what we expected our revenues to be.
Any questions? This does require action, so may we entertain a motion to accept the report?
I'll make that motion.
All in favor? It passes. Thank you, Jim. We move on to our board reports. Anyone have anything to report from their elementary buildings?
Let's see, 2 Fridays ago at Schlegel Road, they had a family fun night. Tons of people went, had a great time. Their winter concert is tonight, January 24th. Now it's over. Hope you didn't miss it. And the school community supported the Webster Community Chest this holiday season by sending gifts to local families in need.
Thank you. You're not legislative, are you? No.
Legislative meeting is 2 weeks.
Okay.
1 week, 2 weeks.
Labor Relations will meet next Wednesday. At Information Exchange, we talked about school nutrition, and we're lucky enough to have our own person talk to us ahead of time, so we knew a lot of this anyways. But 2 challenges that they did say they're facing that is for the legislature is to define what whole grain is and what sodium requirements are, because that's creating all sorts of confusion for the food service people. And they have said that all food service directors are trying to work together, and they're committed to doing the best they can for kids, to providing the best food, nutritional sources of food that they can, and they're trying to develop new and interesting ideas to help kids continue to participate in the school lunch program. And that's it for information sharing. Tom's not here, so we won't do the president's report. Anything from audit, Janine? Nope. And policy, we're meeting
Next week?
next week, and Lisa's not here, but does anyone want to report on the budget advisory?
Yeah, we had our first meeting. I'm trying to think if we reported on that. We reported that we were going to have the first meeting. So the first meeting took place. We went over the factors in the budget, the context for the budget, and then Jim went through some of the specifics, and we did a process activity with the group. I'm trying to remember what else we did.
Kind of 2 process activities. One, introductions and really understanding really what, it's been a practice of trying to understand why people are interested in what they're really interested in. And then the closing activity that will help us set our agendas and bring information to this group in future meetings. Our next meeting is February, I want to say 11th.
Okay.
I think that is a Monday.
Yes.
It is Monday, the 11th. And we'll be bringing revenue and budget projections as well as a lot of answers to some of the questions that we received at the last meeting.
Thank you. We'll now move into our consent agenda. Board members, you've had a chance to look at that. For our audience, the consent agenda includes our minutes, our personnel actions, our recommendations on the Committee on Special Education and the Committee on Preschool Education, as well as some cooperative bids. May we have a motion to entertain our consent agenda?
So moved.
Second. Thank you. All in favor? Aye. Motion carries. Before we adjourn, just to point out that we do have a retreat on Saturday, February 2nd, and our next board meeting is Thursday, February 7th. With that being said, may we have entertain a motion to adjourn?
Second.
Thank you. All in favor? Aye. Good night, everyone.